Okay, it works the other way around also, and that is if you have received, this is very interesting what is coming now. If you have received, or if one has received more in the, because money is also energy. So if they received more money than service that they have given out, that is the light, the light they have given out, the harmony they have given out, the way they have nourished the energy, nourished the life. So this is all stolen energy, basically. So if you have received more of that than you have given out light, and if on top of that you have also energetically not given out light, but densified the light further by taking light from others, because that's what densifies your own light. That's what dims your own light. That's what closes your own heart, is to, let's say, be mean or do wrong unto others. Division, yes? Division from the light. Then there's a huge gap there. And that's why that is why the apparently, this is what is always talked about, the financial fiat system crash is imminent. Now let's talk about this bubble. It's because energetically there is such a schism, there is such a huge gap. All this money, which means energy, which means you can do, whatever you can do, go wherever you want, do whatever you want, within the limits that money can afford. You can buy anything that money can afford. So there's a discrepancy there, and everything is coming back into alignment. That gap is closing. That also means that's what I'm getting, what Judgment Day means. It doesn't mean the way I use the word judge, which is when I use the word judge, I mean negative projection. That I mean that the bad feeling that you get from what you see, because that's not that we're doing this. This is the unconscious. This is how we were conditioned. This is how our system has been hardwired to project. That's the hard wiring of our system, and it is only our conscious awareness that will allow that wiring to shift back around and then to heal, and then we can actually, because what we want is for the negative emotion to stop. We want to feel good, and what we want when we see something we don't like, we want to change it into something that we do like that we would prefer. But the only way to do that, we reinforce it if by going by the conditioned ways, we just reinforce it. So the only way to do that is to first, or at the same time, make space for that terrible feeling or bad feeling that we feel, but not project it. We own our own feelings, and then the clear, coming from the neutral then, guided movement, which is action then, or behavior, then that is not reaction anymore, to do or not do, but what we do will be the utmost possible in our potential to change it into what we prefer. Okay. So there has been all this stolen energy, or if there has been, and in the fiat money system, that's what it is. That's what I'm not gonna go into it, but we know this. We know how this banking system operates. So you have all this money generated or taken, and it's like the whole system, how it's been built up is so that whoever built the system and whoever is supportive of it and goes along with it, so in a way is a helper to that. It's a system of exploitation. They will have, in the past, they had a lot of money, and however, energetically, they had a minus in the, so energetically there was a minus, and physically there was a plus. Okay, and this is what is coming back into balance, because we're coming back into the natural cycle from that inversion, which was artificially induced, because this is going very deep, because the egoic mind is an implant, from the inverted 3D. There's also the organic 3D. But the one that we've been born into, the platform, and the physicality that we've been working through, has had this, what is called the egoic mind, this implant that was coming from, that was inverting everything and also dividing everything to a measure of, having the sense of separation from God, and from life. I'm getting too hot and I need to take off the jacket. I need to lose the jacket for a moment here. Okay. And actually, that's of course a whole other topic, but it's coming through now as a puzzle piece. It has to come in, is that where is the root of this evil is in the artificial. So, as also Ismael Perez explains this, but I'm also going to explain it in another video. I can feel it's going to need to happen, why it can only be artificial, because death is not part of life. It's not part of, there is really, it's an illusion. Yeah, exactly. It's an illusion, because everything that exists will always exist, has always existed. It's just that it changes form. Okay. Yeah, let's not, I'm not going to go into that here in this, to bring this point across. Okay. I don't want to make it this long. Yes. But it is artificial, and it is AI. Okay. There is this AI that is, all right. That's all I'll say to this. That doesn't mean that all AI is evil. No. Okay. But it is that which is not life. It is that which is not conscious. That which cannot be conscious. It's artificial. Yes. It has no soul. It has no light. Yes. It's a machine, basically. Yes. Okay. So it's like a tool of God to be able to use that tool and to split consciousness from itself in order to have that experience of being separated from God, in order to go into such density. And of course, that means suffering creates all of that space. But the thing is, it's not space, it's tighter. That's the density. What is tight? It means that there is no more space for light to flow through. That's that tightness, right? That's the compression, the squeeze. No blood can flow through, no light, no consciousness can flow through. But it's not that life is consciousness, but it makes consciousness go asleep. and then it becomes a very dense body, and that's when there's ever tighter identification, like full identification, and that's this full on ego. And it's like just the programs are using then the asleep consciousness, the asleep life, to create these avatars, these identities to play with, these worlds, these realms, these platforms, and this kind of a dream. And in the end, okay, so then the light comes back in and brings everything, wakes itself back up. It wakes itself back up and thereby brings it back into that organic flow. And then all the space comes into the density that has been formed. And that is the expansion. And that's the expansion of self, of consciousness, of life, of worlds. Okay. Oh, now I did kind of bring that in. Okay. But can you imagine? So the schism, yes? Here, all this amassed wealth or power, energy, and here on the energetic level a big minus. So here a big plus, here a big minus. And now we're coming into this alignment. Many astrological cycles, the light is coming back in, God consciousness is coming back in, the access to God consciousness is coming back. And that also means this Judgment Day, as they talk about Judgment Day, in the Bible. To me, this is what that means, is that it is coming back into balance. So that if you have a plus in the physical, but a way bigger, or let's say a minus, is that the same? Keep flowing. What happens when it comes back? It comes back to neutral, which also means zero. Yeah, I'm just gonna so it means that all that wave of money that is, let's say, stored and hoarded, even if it's in assets, it doesn't matter, of someone who has this huge energetic minus, which means they not of service but of disservice, and so it's stolen. Basically, it's stolen. And so all that goes back to balance, is that it all goes back into where it belongs, into the natural flow of, and where it belongs, it means there is equal measure, there is equilibrium, there is an exchange, there's this constant, like the waves on the shores, this constant flowing back makes a wave, flows back onto the shore, flows back into the ocean, makes a wave, flows back onto the shore. That is a rhythm, So also hoarding or holding on is not necessary anymore. That won't be, that is counterproductive, and it won't even be it's not part of the expression of this organic, when you come into your organic flow, there feels no need anymore to hold on and to safeguard. And that was all the old system. And you had to safeguard it, of course, because it was a system of stealing. So you have to safeguard it from the thieves. And so it's also, there's so much fear connected to money, in the old system. So the scales will be balanced. The scales will be balanced, and in both ways, because also what is going to happen is, and this is what inspired, where I said, okay, I'm getting this because my higher self was talking to me, and I'm like, hold on, we have to record this. that when you have been putting out, being of service to the light, but not receiving the equal amount of that, the energy, what is the equal amount? It means the expression in the physical platform that we're in on this density level of the energetic. So if you have not been receiving physically what you have been putting out energetically, serving, okay, that's what I mean, serving, nourishing, coming through you, allowing through you the light that is then going into the collective, the organic collective, the organic grid. Also, this is an imbalance. And also this will come into balance, that the scales will be balanced, which means that's good news. That's very beautiful. Yes. And even though we always say that abundance is not it's not money, it's everything. It can be everything that carries you and your mission, which means your service, that enables you to come to your full potential of expression in your service to the light, to consciousness, to love, to life, to nature, to each other, and all of that. Wow, now I completely lost my train of thought. I completely lost it. Yes. And at the same time, as we are in the expression still, in the platform where money and but now it's not just fiat money. Now it's not just the money, the fiat money. It's also crypto, and it's also gold and silver, and it can also be assets, of course. Things that we need. It can be the assets like food and housing and being able to travel, But then when it comes to still, a lot of this involves money, still having to use money. And so that also means that, yes, indeed, there will be also, in the rectifying of the scales, there will also be money coming in that you at this point may not, and I'm speaking to everyone who resonates with this, who can feel what I'm saying and gets this, that it will also come in the form of money. And that may be that we cannot yet imagine how that may look. But now that it is being shown, it is clearly now being shown to me that it has to happen this way. That is just the natural way of things. And so this also means that, you've already heard of you've already spent time learning about the quantum financial system. And so this is, for example, an expression of that, of how this also on a level of money will, in the expression of money, be it cryptocurrency or fiat money, which fiat money, is supposedly will be, when the quantum financial system comes, there will still be money first, but it will not be fiat money. Yes, and we already have this cryptocurrency, which is not fiat money. So we already have alternatives to fiat money, even though on the platforms, it's still mostly fiat money with which we can procure things and acquire things. Yes. So to the degree that that is still playing the first flute, you will also, this is what is being shown now to me, you will also receive it in that way, because it is all the energy that, wants to come back into balance. And how is it going to show up? As energy, as support, as life support, according to where where you're at in the system that you're in. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? Because if you can believe that, it's coming anyhow, yes, but you are also the one who can speed it up or hit the brakes. And when it's coming collectively is the collective of every individual. It depends on exactly how the individual is either hitting the brakes, being in, having the foot off, or you can also speed it up. You can put your, and so the more that you can realize this, and this is not something you can just make yourself realize. It is something of look and see for yourself. Just be open. That is that neutral. It is being open to it. And also taking the time to notice, taking the time, making the space for this, for the truth, the realization of the truth to present itself to you. For that, you have to make that space, and that means to, not always being in somebody else's life, in somebody else's dream, in some story, and being distracted. Being always in the narrative and in the thinking. Realization comes when you make space. And then that openness allows for acceleration of the scales to be balanced in your individual life. And then obviously that is your part, again, of service to the collective for the scales to be balanced coming quicker. Because there's always the question, when is it going to, like also with the QFS, when is it going to happen? When is it coming? And nobody can say for sure. But it's fascinating because we can already see, you already hear about what is already beginning to position itself and developing and coming into place and crystallizing, from an idea of a few, then trickling down into the embodiment of it. Well, I want to say the QFS idea of a few, yes, because, okay. It is maybe, certain groups have come up with the actual technology of it and system of it, yes, but it comes, of course, from a collective desire, yes. And so that is then one way how this balancing of the scales will be expressed in the density at the time, Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that's really beautiful.